जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातिरवनचारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातिरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा कुञ्ज बिहारी श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 3, chapter entitled Liberation from the Illusory Energy. Text number 41. Shirajovacha Karmayogam Vatatanaha Purusho Yena Samskritaha Vido Yeha Shukarmani नैष्कर्म्यं विन्दते परम्। कर्मयोगं वदत नः पुरुषो येन संस्कृतः विधूयेहाशु कर्माणि नैष्कर्म्यं विन्दते परम्। कर्मयोगं वदत नः पुरुषो येन संस्कृतः विधूयेहाशु कर्माणि नैष्कर्म्यं विन्दते परम्। पुरुषो येन संस्कृतः विधेयो याशु कर्माणि नैष्कर्म्यं विन्दते परम्। श्रीराज उवाच पुरुषो येन संस्कृतः विधूयेहाशु कर्माणि नैष्कर्म्यं विन्दते परम् श्रीराजोवाच कर्मयोगो वदताना पुरुषो येन संस्कृतः कर्माणि कर्म्यं विन्दते परम्. Word for word meaning. Shri Raja Uvacha. The king said, Karma Yogam, the practice of dovetailing one's work with the Supreme. Vadata, please tell. Naha, to us. Purushaha, a person. Yena, by which. Samskritaha, being refined. Vidhuya, getting rid of. Iha, in this life. Ashu, quickly. Karmani, materialistic activities. Naishkarmyam, freedom from fruitive reactions. Vindate, enjoys. Param, transcendental. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. King Nimi said, O great sages, please speak to us about the process of Karma Yoga. Purified by this process of dedicating one's practical work to the Supreme, a person can very quickly free himself from all material activities, even in this life, and thus enjoy pure life on the transcendental platform. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.5, Nahi kasyit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karmakrit karyate hi avashah karma sarva prakriti jairgunaihi. All men are forced to act helplessly according to the impulses born of the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Since the living entity cannot remain inactive, he must learn to dedicate his activities to the Lord. Srila Prabhupada comments on this verse from Bhagavad Gita as follows: It is not a question of embodied life, but it is the nature of the soul to be always active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. As such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in the good work of Krishna consciousness, otherwise it will be engaged in occupations dictated by illusory energy. In contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires material modes, and to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage in the prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras. But if the soul is engaged in his natural function of Krishna consciousness, whatever he is able to do is good for him. Ordinary people often question the busy activities of the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, mistaking such activities to be ordinary material work. Srila Jiva Goswami has stated in this connection, Kamya karmani eva tyajitani natu nitya naimiktikani phalasyeva vinindittatvat. One should give up selfish activities performed for one's personal sense gratification, since the result of such thoughtless work is further material bondage. But one should offer one's regular or occasional occupational duties to the Supreme Lord, and thus such activities become transcendental devotional service. By the words Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jidnyasu Shreya Muttamam, this chapter has clearly explained that dovetailing one's work with the service of the Lord is an art one should learn at the lotus feet of the bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, if one whimsically declares his materialistic work to be transcendental devotional service, there will be no actual result. Therefore, according to Sri Jiva Goswami, one should not mistake the word Naishkarmyam to indicate inactivity. Rather, it indicates transcendental activity under the guidance of the Lord and His representatives. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So we are discussing from the third chapter of the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Interestingly, the chapter here is entitled as Liberation from Illusory Energy. Now, some titles in Srimad Bhagavatam look very attractive, and this is one of those titles because we all want to be liberated from the illusory energy. And a natural reasoning may be that if I stop performing all activities in the material world, then I will automatically get liberated because I will have no connection with the material energy. And this is how I will get liberated from the material energy. But here in this particular verse and purport, King Nimi, in the translation, he is mentioning that how the activities may be material, but if our consciousness is spiritual, then the same activities which we perform in this material world, they can take us to the spiritual world. So the key to going back home, back to Godhead, is not stopping work. So I'll try to discuss something today because Srila Prabhupada disciples in the purport are also mentioning something about inaction. This word Naishkarmyam, it is meaning inaction. So is inaction the solution? We will try to see that. And how in Krishna consciousness sometimes, and even outside, sometimes inaction can be action and action can also be inaction. You are not doing anything, but still by not doing anything we are doing a lot of things. And sometimes doing, like for example, when we are chanting the holy name of Krishna, many people, they have this question, what will this chanting do? You are putting your hand in some cloth bag and you are engaged for 2 hours just in that. What will happen by that? How will the heart get transformed by that? And it is very difficult for people to comprehend how it can happen. When I was studying chemistry, we would be having one experiment known as titration experiment. I don't know whether we have it here or not. But what would happen is that we had a particular transparent solution, and then at one particular time, we need to keep on pouring the liquid drop by drop, drop by drop. And when it reaches a particular point, let's say 3.6, at that point, the liquid, it will turn pink. At that point, 3.6, it will turn pink. And at 3.5 also it will remain white. 2.5 also it will remain white. 0.5 also it will remain white. So in the same manner, in our Krishna consciousness also, when we are chanting the holy name of Krishna, sometimes it may be 2.5, but the pink color will come only when it reaches 3.5. And we may also feel, hey, I am practicing Krishna consciousness since many years. Is something happening? Yes, definitely something is happening. Krishna says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that verse comes, Shrinvatvam svakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti surutsatam. It says, when you hear the holy name of Krishna, or when you hear the holy message of Krishna, punya shravana kirtanam, that itself is so purifying that it cleans away all the impurities in the heart. Just like when we put our clothes in the washing machine and put detergent, we don't know what is happening inside, but the clothes come clean. In the same manner, inaction, chanting may be inaction, but we are performing the highest action through that inaction. So we'll discuss on that particular topic. The impersonalists, they feel that we should not perform any action. We give up all action, and that is how we will we will attain liberation. Liberation is their ultimate goal, and they want to give up all activities. But here in the purport it is mentioned that the spirit soul cannot remain inactive, even for a moment. Even a small child, we find, as soon as he wakes up, he wants to do something. Whatever is there, he tries to put it in his mouth. So everywhere the soul is active. You cannot change the nature of the soul. The soul is active by nature. So therefore, Prabhupada would say that the voidists, they say that we have to make desire zero. He said the desire to be desireless is also a desire. So how can you make the desire zero? So he said, Prabhupada would say that the only void in this world is in the head of the voidist. There is no other void in this world. The only void means whole desirelessness. It is in the head of the voidist. So that is the only place, he would say. Prabhupada would also give examples of people, of Babas, who would say, I will not speak anything. I will remain Mauni Baba. I have taken a vow not to speak for my entire lifetime. But then the same person, what he would do? He would have a slate beside him. And in that slate, with the help of a chalk, he would write. He would write what desires he has. So in this way, desires cannot be made zero. We need to desire, but if we desire wrong, then ultimately we will go back. We'll fall down to the material plane. And therefore the desires need to be purified. And that is the process of Krishna consciousness. Now, we try to discuss how inaction is not the solution, because somehow or other you are performing action. Now, some places are also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam where inaction is also action. We have the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj coming in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy, and he wanted to sit on his father's lap, a small desire. And at that time, his stepbrother, he was also sitting there. And what did the stepbrother do? Stepbrother did not do anything, but his father, he said that you cannot sit. He did not say that. The stepmother who was there, if you know the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, Suruchi, who was the stepmother of Dhruva Maharaj, she said that if you want to sit on your father's lap, you should be born from my womb. So die now, take another birth, and then you can sit on your father's lap. Now, Uttanapad, he should have spoken something to Suruchi. Hey, he's a small child. How can you speak like this? How can you speak like this? but she did not say anything. So Uttanapad neither said anything to Dhruva, nor he said anything to Suruchi. So what happened? Inaction resulted in a great action. Because through his not speaking anything, he was taking the side of Suruchi. And he became against Dhruva. And that is how his not speaking also was an action. In the same manner, we see how Yudhishthir Maharaj in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was mentioned, he was told by Krishna that you please tell to Dronacharya that Ashwathama is dead. And Yudhishthir Maharaj said, how can I speak a lie? This is a wrong action. I don't want to perform a wrong action, a negative action which will yield a negative result. And therefore he was refraining from doing so. And what happened? His chariot which would fly on the ground, it started coming down. His inaction was a great action because he did not side with Krishna. So his apparent morality, it led to his going again, not against Krishna, but not following the orders of Krishna. Because following Krishna's orders is the highest morality. Another example we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We find Vidura. Vidura was a very great devotee of Krishna. And now Vidura's case very amazing. His example we can see how in inaction also he performed a very great action. And the next part he acted, but that was also inaction. We will see both the examples. The first place, when Vidura was in the palace of Dhritarashtra, he would always say to Dhritarashtra that your son Duryodhan is actually offense personified. Sa esha dosha purusha dvidastre in Sanskrit. He is the son. He is the personification of all offense. You drive him away to the forest. But Dhritarashtra was so blindly attached to his own son. He did not do anything. And then finally, when Duryodhana was wanting to arrest even Krishna, he wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas. Vidura again tried to tell Dhritarashtra that, hey, send your son out of your home. But Dhritarashtra did not say anything. Again inaction. But that was again taking side of Duryodhan. And Vidura, although he could have reacted, although he could have said something to Duryodhan, he just thought, here I will not do anything. I will just go away from here. And by that inaction, he performed the greatest action of going closer to Krishna. And that event it set the stage for Vidura to go to the holy places and to have great pilgrimage. That is what Vidura did. So here, he did not speak anything to to Duryodhana. He did not speak anything to Vidura, but he just left. Then, when he went to the Pandavas, he was asked about where is Krishna. And Vidura did not mention that Krishna has departed for his own abode. All the Yadus, they have been annihilated. The entire dynasty has been annihilated. He did not say anything of it. Why? Because he was so sensitive to all the Pandavas. He thought that the bad news is there, it is going to come anyways. So why do I speak now? Because the actions which are there, which we perform in this world, we may perform in three ways. Either through our body, or through our mind, or through our words. Duryodhana refrained. It was there in his mind, but he did not speak it. It was inaction, but it was the highest action because he cared for the sentiments of the Pandavas. And then we find the same Vidura who cared so much for the sentiments of Pandavas by not telling them that Krishna has gone to his own abode. The same Vidura spoke very harshly to Dhritarashtra. Same Vidura, that time only. He spoke very harshly. He said that, what are you doing, Dhritarashtra? You have become an old man. You are living on the Bhima is like throwing to you remnants, and like a dog you are eating. Your senses have become hard of hearing. You cannot chew anything. Get out of your house immediately. Now here Vidura was performing the greatest action by his words, but it did not result in any reaction, because it was related to Krishna, because he was wanting the benefit of Dhritarashtra, and he was wanting that Dhritarashtra go closer to Krishna. So we find here in Vidura's example how action can be the greatest inaction. It can take us closer to Krishna. Sometimes seemingly bad action can also be inaction. Just like we find in Vrindavan, the Vraja Gopis, those who are there, during the Rasa dance, Krishna called them at midnight to come in the forest. Now if we see from an external point of view, leaving your husbands aside and going to a paramour's place in the midnight, it is a very bad action. But still, for that bad action, also gopis are glorified. When Uddhava went to Vrindavan, he was so mesmerized by seeing the devotion of all Vrajavasis, especially the gopis. He said, wow, these gopis, although they are simple village girls, although they appear to be spoiled by their village behavior, but they have attained the highest perfection of their lives, which is Govinda Akhilatmani Rudha Bhava, which is intense and deep attachment for Lord Govinda. And then he prays, let me become a creeper. I just want to become a creeper in Vrindavan, so that the gopis, they trample over me and I get the dust of their lotus feet. So here we find gopis performed a bad action externally, but that was the highest inaction. And therefore Naishkarmya, which is given in this verse, does not mean that we don't perform any action, as is given in the purport also. But Naishkarmya means that we perform actions which are pleasing to Krishna. And when we perform actions which are pleasing to Krishna, then whatever we may do, any action cannot bind us. One time Srila Prabhupada, he saw a photo of a saintly person, and he was saying, no, I don't touch money. The picture was as if depicting him to be not touching money. Prabhupada said, keep a suitcase of money in front of me and take my photo, embracing the money. I have no problem, because I will use everything in the service of Krishna. So a devotee does not reject anything of this material world, because everything in the material world is Krishna's energy only. So when a devotee sees anything in this material world, he wants to engage it in the service of Krishna. And that is the highest perfection of life. So therefore, when it is mentioned here that we have to give up activities, giving up activities means giving up the material consciousness in which we perform activities. It is not that we have to give up our jobs. It is not that we have to give up our work. But we need to connect Krishna to that work. Therefore, Prabhupada gave us such a wonderful arrangement in Krishna consciousness to engage everything, to engage our body, to engage our mind, and to engage our words also. In the initial days, it is very important for us to engage our body, It is the easiest to engage. And therefore, when we remain totally absorbed in bodily activities in Krishna consciousness, then those bodily activities also take us closer to Krishna. Let's say you are doing arati for Krishna. Let's say you're sweeping the floor for Krishna. You're distributing books for Krishna. Engaging everything in the service of Krishna. That way it is a festival for the soul. And then along with that, the next phase comes is engaging our words in the service of Krishna. Now, many a times we find that we may speak something which is not Krishna conscious. Prabhupada says in Nectar of Instruction that when we are speaking things which are not Krishna conscious, it is like croaking of a toad or a frog, inviting the snake of death. And therefore he says, a preacher of Krishna Katha is beyond the clutches of birth and death because he is always speaking about Krishna. So it is said that silence is golden. But if we speak about the golden avatar, who is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it is higher than that silence also. So higher than that inaction of silence is speaking about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the golden avatar. We find the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, how intensely they engaged their body, mind and words in service of Krishna. And what all they did not do. We have the example of Her Grace Yamuna Mataji, who was ready to jump off the train. Prabhupada told her, one time they were going to Delhi and Prabhupada told her, I want to have some hot rice. And she said, where can we get the hot rice? Then she went to the pantry car and the pantry people said, no, you cannot make here. Then she went to the pantry head. She said, if you don't allow me to cook for my guru, I may as well jump off the train. And the man felt, if she jumps off really, then it will come upon me. Oh, no, you can cook, he said. And they cleaned all the vessels and they brought hot rice for Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was so pleased. So devotees would be willing to do anything and everything just to see one smile in the face of Srila Prabhupada. That was their goal. Engaging body, engaging words and engaging mind. And when we do that, mind is the most difficult because our mind keeps on going here and there. But starting with body, if we engage our words, then a time will come when our mind will also be focused on Krishna. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter, Mai eva mana adatsva mai buddhim niveshaya. That engage your mind in me. Your mana, your mind should always be thinking about me. That is a very high stage. So initially we can engage our body and we can engage our words in the service of Krishna. And therefore Bhakti Vinod Thakur also says in that very beautiful song, Manaso deho geho jo kichu mora arpilu tua pade nanda kishora. So he says, my mind, my body, my everything I have offered unto you. And that is what is the meaning of Sarva Dharman Parityajya. We give up all considerations in our life and we only consider that, yes, I want to please Krishna. And that is the highest goal of my life. So this is what is being described in this purport. One more small point we will touch upon. Here it is written in the purport. Jiva Goswami says that we should give up kamya karmas. Kamya karmas means our desired actions. But we should not give up nitya and naimittika karmas. Means we should not give our eternal activities. So in the platform of Krishna consciousness also, sometimes we may have some desired actions. Like I may desire to sing for Krishna. I may desire to dress Krishna. I may desire to do many multifarious services for Krishna. There is no problem in that. Kamya karma can also be there in bhakti, in Krishna consciousness, but if it is under the guidance of the spiritual master, then it becomes perfect. And that is why here it mentions, by the words Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta, the chapter has clearly explained that dovetailing one's work with the service of the Lord is an art one should learn at the lotus feet of the bona fide spiritual master. And that is what we need to do. So there can be different stages we can be in our path of Krishna consciousness, in the zone, from the zone of inaction to highest action. We can be in various phases. I have noted down a few we could be. The first and the lowest stage could be where one could be is a spectator. We can be just spectators on the path of Krishna consciousness, just observing what is going on, but not doing anything, thinking that inaction is highest. No, that is not the highest. We are not meant to be spectators, but we need to engage ourselves. Just like Mataji is making something, so this engagement is there. So that activity itself is going to liberate us. Sometimes, and when we are hearing, somebody may feel, oh, what is this hearing? Hearing is inaction. Actually, hearing is the highest action on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, when he was going to be initiated by his spiritual master said, yes, I will initiate him because he likes to hear. He does not go away. So the main qualification of Srila Prabhupada for getting initiation from his spiritual master was not any service on ground. It was only he was hearing. So hearing becomes the greatest action in devotional service. So one level could be, one could be spectator. Another level could be, one could be a grabber, an ungrateful grabber on the path of devotional service. Whatever comes, I want that. Wherever anything is there, I want to just grab it. One time, there was a person who went to a goddess, and he said to the goddess that, Goddess, if you fulfill this desire of mine, I will offer you a big animal in sacrifice. And the goddess said, okay. And his desire was fulfilled. And next time he again came to the goddess. Goddess said, you were going to offer me something? And that man said, no, actually I cannot offer a big sacrifice. I can offer a little smaller sacrifice. Okay, he said, okay, do so. But he did not even do that. And the next time again he came. And then the goddess said, at least offer me some mosquitoes. And the man said, so many mosquitoes are just flying around. Can you not catch one of them? Just catch and be happy. So in this way, one can be at the level of just grabbing things from Krishna, grabbing things from devotees, but not giving them. The next level, another level could be, one could be a fair weather performer. When I was in my 10th grade and below that, I would participate in swimming competitions. So whole through the year I would be swimming, and our coach, he would train us, and during summers and all there would be competitions. So when it was summer, the time for holidays, there would be a lot of people coming in to learn swimming, but they would only remain for 2 months, and after that they would go away. So my coach would say, oh, the seasonal frogs have come now, because frogs are seen only in the rainy season. So he would say the seasonal frogs will come and they will go away. In the same manner, our devotional service sometimes could be on the level of a fair weather perform. When the weather is good, now Chicago turns cold, terribly cold in the winters. But weather in the sense that when I am moody, when my mood is there, when I am feeling good, I will come. When my mood is good, I will chant. Otherwise, okay, fine, it is okay if I do. Who has seen anyways? So one could be at that level, fair weather performer. Another level could be, we could be a coaster. Coaster means he is just on the banks. He's not going deep. He or she is not going deep on the banks. Whatever minimum is required, I will do that. Somehow I will finish my 16 rounds till midnight. I will drag along in my path of spiritual life. That is another level where one could be at. A level higher than that is one could be contributor. One could be contributing something to Krishna's service, and that could be at any level. There are some people, those who come and they just give some grains and go back, contributing something. There are people, those who come as volunteers and offer some service, contributing something. Now Mataji is there every day, she writes this board, contribution. So this is contributor level. And the highest level could be, one could be a selfless servant, where one doesn't consider anything about himself. One considers only the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. One considers that no matter what, I just want to please Kishore Kishori, I want to please Srila Prabhupada, and I am ready to do anything. If I am asked to sweep, I will sweep. If I am asked to do this service, I will do that. I am a selfless servant. And Prabhupada was the highest selfless servant. If he could have remained in Vrindavan. There was no problem for him. He could have gone home back to Godhead. But he undertook this journey at the fag old age of 70, just so that we can receive this gift of Krishna consciousness. And therefore Prabhupada, by his example, now ordinarily people retire. They go to inaction phase after 70. But we have His Grace Jitendriya Prabhu here. Such high action, I am inspired from him. I cannot work like him. My hands start paining. But you see such high inaction, taking that spirit from Srila Prabhupada. So when we do that, when we live selflessly, then we need not wait to go to the spiritual world. We are liberated here itself. Liberation from the illusory energy will happen here itself. Because iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasagira nikilasho api avasthasu jivan mukta suchate. One who is engaging everything in Krishna consciousness, he is already liberated. And that's what is our goal when we are practicing Krishna consciousness. So I'll pause here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavat Puran ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Are there any comments? Take the green one. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. You rightly said that we can dovetail all our activities in the service of Krishna, that is by body, words and mind. And mind, as is known, is very restless, keeps wandering from one place to another. Perhaps that was the reason Prabhupada enacted 4 regulative principles to regulate the mind. But practically we see, even if we engage our body and words in the service, but yet we find our mind wandering from one place to another place, and sometimes even those regulations are also, broken. So how do we do that? We still have that greed in mind, various other things which are forbidden actually to be on the path of spiritual realization. So how to practically overcome those? One is okay, the popular saying is, practice makes a man perfect. But the biggest hindrance is the wandering of mind. How do we really get over it?
Yes, definitely. Mind is the best friend when controlled, and mind is the greatest enemy when uncontrolled. So when we are coming on the path of Krishna consciousness, as we know, there are 9 stages of bhakti, starting from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajan Kriya, then Anartha Nivritti. Now we have at least come at a level where we are physically refraining from doing that. Physically we are following. Externally we are following the 4 regulative principles: no illicit sex, no gambling. We don't go in a gambling shop, or we don't go for intoxication. We don't go and purchase meat. So externally we are following it. Definitely there is some advancement. But the fact is, this anartha nivritti process, it is a very long one. And when we complete anartha nivritti, after that we come to the stage of nishtha, which is called as steadiness. So we need to understand that steadiness in our life will also come in 3 levels. First, steadiness will come in the level of body. So at the level of body, we need to check, am I sleeping in time and I'm getting up on time? Am I trying to chant my rounds early? Is this happening? Very good. Next level, on the level of words, am I criticizing devotees? Am I finding fault with devotees? Am I speaking gossip? If not, very good, words is cleared. Then we go to the mind. And at the level of mind, when we reach the stage of nishtha, the mind will be fixed upon Krishna. Therefore, we need to first take care of our body and words, and whatever possible, we need to engage our mind in Krishna's service. But having said that, it is certain that it will take some time, because the mind has got unlimited impressions from unlimited lifetimes. Because of that, the clutter is so much in the mind that even though we try to go, but the mind distracts. We try to go, the mind distracts. So Krishna is giving a simple solution in Gita. He says, get the mind back, abhyasa, do practice, and along with that, detachment also. Many a times, like now here also Naishkarimam we are talking about, many a times the problem is our attachment. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would give that story of a marriage party which had gone in the night. They went to the bank of the river and the boatman was rowing and rowing and rowing, and early morning they found themselves to the same spot. And the boatman was, he was sweating. And they said, what happened? And then they saw anchor was there only. So for the boat there was only one anchor. In our life there are many anchors. One small, one big, one more big, one this big. And because all these anchors are there, they pull us. But when we get detached, I try to do my best. Like Prabhupada, when he wanted to leave his family, it was an anchor. And it is not that he was irresponsible for his family, but he understood, I did whatever was possible for me. But now I cannot do anything more than this. So he had that thing in his mind, and therefore when he was coming to America, he said to his son Vrindavan Chandra that please take care of your mother, please take care of your brothers. But he did whatever was possible. So on the material platform, we also need to understand that we cannot do everything. Sometimes from situations we need to get detached. There's that attachment which is there in the mind. It causes a problem. The asakti which is there in the mind, it causes the problem. So we need to get detached. And when we are detached, then from our opinions, from our plans, Krishna may bring another plan. If we are detached from our plan, we are happy. And then we can focus on Krishna. So first, the mind is attached now. Next stage is detach the mind. Third is get attached to Krishna. So we need to at least work at the second level. This is my understanding. Prabhu, you want to comment something? You want to comment something, Prabhuji? So stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you.